Welcome to Alex Brown Racing's At the Races, a YouTube horse racing show where we talk about horse racing both here in North America and sometimes overseas for horse racing fans everywhere. It is August 1st and my name is Alex Brown. This last weekend, the three-year-old division took on a bit of a sharper focus with the runnings of the Jim Dandy Stakes at Saratoga and the Haskell Stakes at Monmouth Park. Both races serve as a sort of springboard to the Travers Stakes, the marquee three-year-old event, summer event, towards the end of the Saratoga meet. Alpha took the Jim Dandy Stakes in the muddy conditions that prevailed on Saturday at Saratoga, going wire to wire. His biggest challenger through the race looked to be Teeth of the Dog, but he sort of flattened out at the head of the lane to sort of retreat and finish fourth. But Alpha won that race, has sort of come back to sort of some of the form he showed in the early spring of the year before he disappointed in the Kentucky Derby. Painter took the Haskell Stakes at Monmouth Park on Sunday, and his sort of main challenger in that race, Gemologist, sort of threw in the towel going into the final turn and made it a very easy race for Painter. The other choice for the race, Dullahan, showed probably not for the first time that perhaps his best running will be done on the synthetic surfaces or turf surfaces, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see Dullahan reappear maybe in the Pacific Classic. That would be kind of an enterprising spot for that horse, but certainly would be surprised if we do see him return in the Travers Stakes in Saratoga. So Alpha will move on to the Travers Stakes most likely. Painter hopefully will. Apparently spiked a bit of a temperature after the race, so we're not exactly sure what that may do in terms of his preparations for the Travers, but fingers crossed Painter might also show up there. His stablemate Bodemeister, Bob Baffert's other real good three-year-old, we're still not exactly sure where he's going to reappear. It's certainly not for the Travers Stakes. It was going to be on the undercard for the Travers Stakes. That may or may not happen. The more you hear noises coming out from that camp, the more you wonder. Hopefully we will see this horse again, but not entirely sure. At the Haskell Stakes at Monmouth on Sunday, I was there. I had the opportunity to talk to Mr. Romans, and I was with the rerun booth and had Mr. Romans pose with the rerun folks, or not folks, but with a t-shirt, and show his support for what a great organization Rerun is. One of the many organizations now doing great work to support the retirement of thoroughbreds from these racetracks. So it was great to see that support, and I know Rerun really appreciated it. But lots of hard work going on with these organizations, and Mr. Roman shared with me at that time, which is now public news, that Shackleford, the great Shack, will return to the races this weekend in the Grade 1 Vanderbilt, the sprint race anyway, at Travers. Not at Travers, at Saratoga, obviously. So we'll get to see the Shack. That will be absolutely fantastic. If he wins this weekend, that will actually be pretty brilliant. It will show that he can win graded stakes at the sprint distance as well as beyond a mile, because obviously he won the Preakness Stakes last year. So very exciting to see a horse like Shackleford come back to the races. He has developed a great fan base, and he is nothing but great for the sport. So that's very exciting. Also, sort of in terms of horses races run, probably, well, no doubt the star that ran over the last week is the horse that ran today, today being Wednesday, depending on when you listen. But Frankel did what he always does, and that's win. He's now 12-12, absolutely brilliant, dominating the Sussex Stakes at Goodwood for the second year in a row, won 8 Grade 1 races in a row. He is currently considered the best horse in the world and has been now for quite some time. He will now, I guess quite frankly, none of the other mile turf horses want to take him on anymore. This was a short field today. He's going to move up in distance, possibly a mile and a quarter in the Judgment Stakes at York next start. How brilliant will that be? But Frankel, absolutely amazing, just great to watch that horse continue to compete and continue to dominate. So great for Frankel. Races coming up this weekend, other than the watching Shackleford run, which will be very exciting. Also at Saratoga, we have a very interesting older horse race, which will really help us understand that division, probably with more clarity after this weekend. The Whitney Handicap. Bill Mott, who just seems to have a barn full of superstars. If we remember, he won with Royal Delta in the Delaware Handicap not too long ago. Has Ron the Greek, probably one of the favourites for the race, if not the favourite. Won a couple of Grade 1s already this year. Has Ron the Greek in the race, as he does. He has another horse in the race whose name escapes me just now, but I'm going to remember it very quickly, called Flat Out. So Bill Mott will have a couple of the principals in the race. Todd Pletcher has a couple of good horses in that race, and I'm sure as a result of the Whitney, we'll have a much clearer understanding of that older horse division on the East Coast. And the other race of note this weekend will be the West Virginia Derby at Mountaineer Park. Hanson, with a blue tail, will hopefully go and win another race. This spot looks a very good spot for him, and use this as a preparation perhaps for him to challenge the top horses in the 3-year-old division in the Travis Stakes towards the end of the Saratoga meet. So Hanson returns in the West Virginia Derby to highlight, along with the Whitney Handicap and the Vanderbilt and a couple of other races, the racing that's going to go on this weekend. So some exciting stuff. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the sport of horse racing.